sun hit your face, Doc. Good morning, Dr. Hoa Nguyen.
Yeah, good morning.
He is the Physicians Advisory Group chair, and we didn't get to catch up with you after the meeting last week. So thanks for joining us, Doc.
You're welcome.
So I read that there was a lot of discussion about whether or not to count people who have gotten the first shot of the vaccine towards the vaccination statistics. Can you kind of tell us what that conversation was about and why it was being had?
Yeah, it's a very interesting idea, and it's not something new. People in different part of the world do the same, and because what the thought is that Johnson, is a one dose vaccine, and it can get you up to about 75% or so, up to 80% coverage on the virus. And that considered completion already. And the Pfizer and Moderna after the first dose, some people get up to 80% plus efficacy after the first dose of Pfizer and Moderna. And if you finish the second, you will be up to 95% on Moderna and Pfizer. So the idea about look at the herd immunity, is that safe enough to open our economy, is that if the Johnson is 75% or so efficacy, then technically, if you look at the number, the Moderna and the Pfizer at the first dose, they also about the same. For us to open our economy, we can count the first dose of Moderna and Pfizer as part of the herd immunity already, rather than wait until people have the second dose. But we have to approach it carefully to make sure that people understand that this is strictly for our economy, but you still need to finish your second dose of Moderna and Pfizer, and do not go without it in order to have your completion to get you at 95% efficacy. So, and the way that we give a vaccine and supply right now, probably by the end of April, that we get that 50% of our population, the island, complete the first dose or more, so if we really counted probably more than 50%, so at that time we can start to open our economy to the outside. And it's not just the economy, it's also, we have to consider about the Q factor, and change the guidelines. So there's a lot of decision, a lot of things that can change if we look at the first dose Moderna and Pfizer compared to Johnson & Johnson. So that's the idea. We still talk about it a whole lot, but I think that we can move to that that idea if the governor and public health and everyone agree with the idea. But that's something we talk about in the PAC, and also we talk about the Surgeon Cell a whole lot on the 50% or higher on the herd immunity.
At what point would the new quarantine protocols be triggered, Doc? And what are they? What are the ways you guys are discussing changing quarantine?
We have to look at the number of vaccinations we give out and percentage on the whole island. We look at the hospital admission to make sure that it's very low. I think right now, I understand it's about 3 or something like that. It changes every day, but and also the number of positivity on the island remain low, and our CAR score got to be we rather a 0.1 or 0.2. I think this is okay. So those are several factors we look for in order for us to kind of change the quarantine guideline. And we have up to several weeks or months now that we are doing well. We just need to continue doing well, and we continue to ask the public to make sure they still practice the 3W, and if we can do that, then we can hopefully change the quarantine guideline very, very soon. Hopefully in the next few weeks or so, if everything's continue to do well. And again, the positivity in the state is also count to, the state is going lower and lower, and hopefully that's the trend that we see in the future.
What are you looking to change with the quarantine protocols and the guidelines?
Sabrina, if people can get some 2 hours PCR testing before they arrive, and everything are doing well, they can quarantine at home. And that's something that we ask people to do is quarantine at home, and hopefully again with the herd immunity with the vaccination, we can control the infection rate that way. We're not going to have a moment when we have zero positive. We have to understand that. Okay, so but the key here is for us not to get sick enough that we end up in the hospital or dying from the virus.
Doc, what did you make about President
That's the key.
Biden's announcement last week that he wants to open up vaccinations for all age groups by, I think it was, April?
I think by June, but that's depend on if you have enough vaccination for everyone, right? Supply and demand, as the supply are so great that you have more supply than people demand it, then yeah, you can open that to everyone. But right now, we still have to ask for more vaccine. So until that point, we really have to kind of concentrate in certain population and not open to everyone. But again, if we have the supply, we'd be glad to open to everyone.
If you are fully vaccinated, are you guys looking at possibly removing quarantine for those who are fully vaccinated? Is that what you said?
Well, that's the key, and we're still looking for ways to verify that you're fully vaccinated. Sabrina, you have completed either one dose of Johnson & Johnson or the 2 doses of Pfizer and Moderna, and that's 2 weeks after you get the last dose. And that's when you're fully vaccinated. And we have to look at ways right now. I don't think everyone has the platform to prove that you've been fully vaccinated, just because that white card, either you lose it or you can probably fabricate it somehow. It's not the most ideal way to prove that you're vaccinated by somebody. You can pretty much make that card yourself.
There's no database or anything where you enter all the information into a computer system?
There's no database nationwide in Guam. We have a digital platform that we propose a public health to use for our population in Guam. To that way, if you go from the state, you come back, that the airport can pull your name up and see if you're vaccinated or not. But so far, they're still kind of in the procurement process, whatever that they do. So we just have to wait to public health give a clear guideline adopting the digital platform. But that's one way that you can, for our local population, only a return resident, to prove they're vaccinated or not. It's just basically someone have to, at the airport, pull up your name and say, hey, you've been vaccinated already, rather than use that white card that you have.
So currently, as of today, there is, when people go get vaccinated, all that information is not inputted into some computer database or anything like that. It's just we just have a bunch of papers.
It's manual. Yeah, we right now it's just all manual, and that's something we try to really ask public health to change into a digital platform. And the manual one, someone has to put that in the database. Yes, they have a database of public health called WebIZ. It's some database that several states and territories are using it, but it's not accessible to everyone. Only public health can access that. So it's not. If the airport wants to kind of pull your name on that WebIZ, they cannot. It's not open for public. So it's very hard to do, and that's something that they use also for inventory supply. It's a WebIZ. But again, we are trying to introduce a digital platform that that run parallel to WebID, so that way, at the airport, someone can prove that, and you have to, if you're fully vaccinated, you come in at a certain point in take to consideration a different factor that you can be able to go home for quarantine. You will have to get that point somehow, but like I say, hopefully soon.
And just for clarification, what you were mentioning earlier, currently, the way that you guys are moving towards achieving herd immunity is based on those who are fully vaccinated, but you are looking at changing it to where you count the numbers for first dose.
Yeah, so kind of strictly for open our economy. Okay, it's not looking at for fully vaccinated. So you have to know the difference. So the number we count for us to comfortably open our economy and is basically the number of people vaccinated, even the first dose, Moderna, Pfizer, because it's equivalent to Johnson & Johnson, but you still don't want to lose that message to the public that that's strictly for us for our economy, but you still need to do your full second dose Moderna and Pfizer. You cannot say, okay, we open and then you won't get the second dose. No, you have to complete the second dose.
Doc, do you think it's a little, maybe not risky, I don't know what the right word is, but a little funny because we just went through this whole thing where, and you're talking about counting people who have got the first shot as vaccinated towards statistics to make us look good to open the economy. But we just went through this whole deal where we didn't have enough vaccines to give everyone their second shot, and everyone ended up getting it way late. So is that really responsible?
We again depend on supply, Chris and Sabrina. I mean, our supply come in on time, and I think they pretty much caught up what the second dose that's due for people. But again, the timeline is past 6 weeks after the second dose was due. So you didn't go outside the timeline that was recommended. So it's not it's not Guam or anyone at risk. It's just supply from the federal. Again, hopefully by June they have more supply than demand. But right now, as much as they give to us, we give to people arms as fast as possible. It's right now the key to push is that public health, the National Guard and all the private clinics are pushing it as fast as they can come in, so we can get our people vaccinated. So it's not a question of responsibility. The question again is the economy is one thing, and also make sure that people understand that's different than completion the 2 dose of Moderna and Pfizer. Again, we want people to finish because that's the maximal efficacy they can get is 95%. If you're satisfied with 75%, just like Johnson & Johnson's okay. But again, if you want much more coverage, then you gotta finish the second dose.
If we go if we use the numbers from the first dose as the basis for achieving herd immunity, when would we achieve a herd immunity? Would it still be faster? July? Yeah. Will it be before July 21st or after?
I think that this month we have about 35,000 doses coming in. Technically, I think in April we have another 10% increase. So you talk about close to 40,000 doses coming in. So if you count it, we should have 50% of our population vaccinated at least in the first dose by the end of April.
Just in time for the starting of tourism by May 1.
Yes, and we should have about 30% plus of our population that's fully vaccinated with the second dose by that time.
But first dose, we should be 60%?
Oh, in the 50 or higher, much higher, yeah. So it's good. Our people really, very few that reluctant to have it, but we are a lot different than than in the state. About 30% people in the state are still reluctant, but in Guam, I would say that the majority of our population want the vaccine. So we're in good position. Sam, in this, if we get the supply in just like we plan, we should have no problem at all.
So are we going to start having like two numbers where like, hey, if you want to come here for the economy, our vaccination rate's like 99%, but in reality it's 40%?
No, we have to report the number of first dose and second dose completed. No, that's what people need to know is that our goal is to make sure that you're fully vaccinated, either with the first dose Johnson or complete the 2 dose Moderna and Pfizer. That's our goal, and to make sure the people know that that's the goal. We don't deviate from that.
Whose idea was this to let's go with the first dose as where we're going to base herd immunity on?
UK did that on there because UK they really vaccinate everyone. They don't, and the thought is delay the second dose so that way at least they have the overall high number of people vaccinated for the herd immunity. So again, we are not the first one to do that. This idea that was part of it on the table is because multiple other areas that do the same thing. So either you have a completion of 2 doses, but very low percentage of people, and let the rest of the population at risk, or you at least vaccinated the majority of population to get some type of immunity there to protect people. A vaccine of 50%, a typical vaccine, 50% of considered very good already. So when you get to 75% or 80%, that's way off, and it's really this excellent things to have. So, this vaccine, again, either first dose completion or first dose only. It's already way past the average vaccine out there already. So that's why the idea of rather to cover a large proportion of your population with the first dose to ensure that people are protected rather than just save it and approach it in a very slow rate of have the 2 dose series. So that way the rest of the population are left unprotected. So it's not it's a decision is made to see, hey, you want a large proportion really quick, at least you protect somehow, or you just want to approach it as a textbook and that be much slower scale. So the supply is not out there for everyone.
So what was the ultimate decision?
I think Sabrina, we still talk about it. I think that we push the idea, but again, is it have to be agreed by public health, and and the governor had to be feel comfortable with that idea.
Okay.
Yeah, we just advise, but again, it go up to the next level. The discussion we will be discussed with public health. And with CDC, and also with the governor as the final decision. Okay, but we're on the right path. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel for us.
Doc, we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary of.
It is 1 year.
It is 1 year anniversary of the COVID. Your thoughts? You've been with us along for this ride for the last year. I mean, we've had just so many talks over the last year. I guess just your thoughts.
I tell you, all of us hope that we do not see another pandemic like this one. Probably once in a lifetime. There's not right or wrong ways to approach it because it's a learning curve for everyone. Okay. Again, it's a fight for everyone in the island. It's one person, one group is everybody. And I think the unique thing about our island is that the overwhelming majority of people are very compliant, and they doing a very good job in abided by the guideline, and that's why we are where we are right now. So I think that over the past year or so, there's a lot of up and down. Not everyone's happy about any decision we make. I think that as a whole, we are doing very well. I went out and eat yesterday, and I'm so happy to see the restaurant have customer in there, and everyone almost at the norm. But again, we cannot get where we are without everyone on the island doing what they do. So it's a huge pandemic. Like I said, we hope we never see one again. But overall, I'm personally very proud of people of Guam and the way we handle things. So again, that's only my personal thoughts. So, but I just want to share that.
All right. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome, guys. Be safe, and we'll take you out fishing.
Yeah,
one day.
we're waiting.
Right.
You've been saying that for a year.
Okay, guys. Have
See
a
you,
good
Doc.
day. Be
Right
safe.
on.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
7:36. We do have some clips from our first show ever, which is totally weird to watch.
Really?
That we're gonna play that coming up. Yes, Jason Solis.
No, that was like, it's actually kind of